The pursuit of learning about anime production has become a very big trend in the anime community. Being able to discover the who's in terms of the people who managed to bring all these various series to life has allowed all sorts of conversations relating to how the presentation may turn out to be. Years ago, trying to find out certain pieces of information about production was probably a lot harder to do for overseas fans. Yet these days, with the internet being such a vast reservoir of knowledge and accessibility improving alongside it, the answers people seek are a simple few clicks away. Majority of the time, you can find the general information such as the director or composer of said series and the trailer. Between Crunchyroll or Anime TV, who both provide translated subtitles, either of these sources can be used to locate some general information. Of course, our primary source is from the people themselves, as many official committees create social media accounts to promote upcoming projects. However, what the anime community desires is knowledge that goes a lot more deeper than just the basics. People want to know information like the storyboarders, episode directors, key animators on an episode, and that is not something that either of the previous sources that I mentioned will provide on a weekly basis. Hence the anime community looking towards Sakuga enthusiasts and those who keep up with the seasonal anime. Sakuga or animation enthusiasts are people who, just like the rest of us, love the medium, but they show their appreciation of the medium through the pursuit of educating others. From renowned contributions from people like Yu Cow on Twitter and even websites like Sakuga Blog, there is an abundance of things to learn about what goes on amongst the different anime productions. Sakuga Blog, which I will link in the description below, is a website full of blogs and articles that really dive into some of the best productions in anime throughout the year, providing an insightful look as to how some of these series manage to do what they do. Contributing alongside this, there are also Sakuga folk who provide details for weekly seasonal anime, which allow fans to gauge expectations on things like the episode director or storyboarder. By trying to educate others about the behind the scenes developments, the goal is to allow people to understand not only how taxing the industry is, but to recognize the contributions within this medium and to appreciate those who all make it happen. While the intent of all of this is positive at heart, the results, however, have been another story. Anime fans have greatly become way too invested in staff, which has caused a lot of staff on Twitter to get weird comments from fans. Asking animators to work on their favorite shows, or wondering why a certain scene didn't turn out the way they wanted, which can come off very insensitive, and there are even harsher cases. On top of this, a lot of anime fans love to use staff as a metric of how good their favorite show is. Enter the shonen fandom wars. Shonen fans love to constantly compare their favorite series as to what looks better, no thanks to Demon Slayer, which has caused a lot of chain reactions. These include misinformation, false leaks and rumors, animators having to speak out during certain incidents, and the list goes on and on. The worst part is that these staff have to kind of be subjected to it all to a degree. I don't think people necessarily understand the fact that these staff use social media as a means of networking. With the industry full of freelancers, the best you can do is advertise yourself and your work and hope to get the opportunity you desire. There is not really a handshake type website for these staff to apply to, and thus when anime fans are able to find their accounts via social media, there are plenty of cases that greatly get out of hand. Now, I've been saying a whole lot, so how about I back it up with some examples? To start off, we can look at One Piece going through a prime example of misinformation because of that metric comment as I stated earlier, and even a case where the staff sees harsh comments. Around the weeks building up to the Gear 5 reveal, everyone was constantly hypothesizing what staff will be working towards Gear 5. Of course, the common name that came up was Megumi Ishitani. One thing anime fans are going to do is associate a name with a cut or sequence, but for her, it's an entire episode. Naturally, the fans wanted to run that back, but the anticipation around her name ended up stretching too far. It got to the point where the biggest One Piece leaker accounts were outright falsely confirming that she was on the episode, only for her to not even be there. Yet that misinformation will spread like wildfire to TikTok and YouTube, which made the situation even more lame because people will take anything from a big leaker account and run with it. Ishitani herself actually spoke out about some comments that she saw from overseas fans. I cannot pinpoint what exact issues people had over 1074, but it seemed to be that of negative comments about Michibata, who was the episode director. Ishitani saying that she was saddened to see some of the comments about Michibata's work supposedly not being up to par to her peers, and made a whole thread about it in English. Do you know how much of an L it is to gas up an episode to have a certain director on it, only for it to be false, and then have that same director that was accused of being on the episode speak out against the fandom's harsh comments towards one of her peers? Quote unquote peak fandom, by the way. Now this may seem tame, but this is a prime example of production talk leading to misinformation and the staff leading to speak out, and believe me, I'm just getting started. Turn back the clock to My Hero Academia Season 5. This is the situation that broke the fandom forever, and it goes back to Chancellor Vincent in My Villain Academia. Back in Season 5, Vincent was responsible for the cut of Toga having used Hochako's quirk to take down the Meta Liberation Army. Around the time post the official broadcast, Vincent had posted his original layout of the scene, and the difference was night and day. The result caused massive outrage, and people started being so loud and wrong, blaming Bones, to the point where Vincent had to speak out and tell people to relax, going as far as to elaborate on complaints with the scheduling and how it was a separate set of circumstances. But even then, people still did not want to listen and understand, and went for the blame route that that just blame the movie and studio bones. Fast forward to even recent animes, both the Bleach and Attack on Titan staff have tweeted about them getting harassment and threats from people online because they don't like certain aspects of the presentation. All moments of when I say that these people can see what you say and it affects them. The anime industry is extremely brutal, with some people almost hospitalizing themselves to get a cut done, yet it's so easy to get angry and upset about these situations when you don't have the proper amount of information regarding production. Right now, everyone is screaming Mappa is the greatest of all time because of JJK, but even that has shown its awkward moments, and now the JJK fans are finally waking up. Yet with every talk about production, people only want to hear the good things and not the reality. I think the worst part is when these enthusiasts and such talk about why something might not look so great, and then they get body slammed on the timeline because everyone else thinks it looks good. It's so easy to throw criticism under the rug when it looks good to you, but it doesn't apply to everyone in every situation. Hence, when these Sakuga folk try to elaborate, they aren't necessarily doing it to rile up people or spite fans, but it merely is what it is. The thing about production information is that you can never simply choose to hear what you want to hear because it never works like that. Behind the scenes, there is always a team effort, and when one section crumbles, it may affect another, and it's important for people to know these types of things before they speak on it. Yet to majority of fans, it's all about the hype, all about who can make the best looking episode, and it tends to ignore the bigger picture. I don't think that those who seek to educate others should have to rein in their hobby just because a large majority of people are pretty toxic and ignorant. It's not fair to them nor to the people who actually want to learn something about how the final product comes to life. Yet if you are going to talk about production or comment on an animator's work or even say anything about production, you have to be knowledgeable. It's too much at stake to just waltz around and just say anything because again, information travels and it travels mighty fast when big shonen are the topic. I also think that anime fans should obviously stop harassing these people when things don't go their way. In fact, it's when things don't go their way or when a scene doesn't turn out as their ideal scenario that they should seek to learn about what caused this so that maybe they won't be so harsh and come to empathize with these animators. I'm not saying that every single thing needs to be excused because you can critique things, but do so with class and know what you are saying if you're gonna be invested in this type of talk. At the end of the day though, I do want to say that no anime fan is outright responsible to learn about production. If you want to simply watch your show and call it a day, then you should and keep it at that. To wrap this up, I did manage to reach out to a longtime friend of mine who is a contributor to the Sakuga community to get his thoughts about anime production talk in today's community. One of the most important things he said to me that sums up the entire video is that the community nowadays is full of people who want to know about the staff not because they actually care, but because they want to know if their favorite anime will look good, and at that point we have lost the original point of educating to begin with. As for my answer, I do think that production talk has negatively impacted the anime community because of how people handle this information. Quite frankly, there will never be a time where people who choose to speak on these things fully choose to learn about what they need to as well. Being understanding and truthful doesn't sell, controversy, hype, and slander does, and that is how the anime community functions. That's pretty much it from me though. As always, thank you for watching, and make sure to leave all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Stay safe out there, and I will catch you all in the next video.